Okay, all my other rants, it's a little spooky because it was, kind of low. So I thought I'd try putting the iPhone up a little higher, make it a little bit less spooky. Just give me a second, gotta get my inspiration going here. This is going to be Jesus and his profound concern about gays, lesbians, and the little fetuses. So just to get your juices going. Oh, public service announcement: kitties smoking, very bad for you. Not really, a pipe is not a problem, but never mind. Listen to your teachers. Okay, so let me fix this a little bit. I want to get a better angle on this. Better? Yeah. Well, better for me. I don't know about you. Okay, so one of my fundamentalist Christian lunatics on LinkedIn reminded me today, calling me a baby-killing, godless, baby-killing liberal. Baby killer liberal. Let's get clear on this bullshit about Jesus and the Christian right's profound concern for the little fetuses from conception forward. In Jesus' time in the Middle East, and basically not just in Palestine, but all over the planet, children were basically a nuisance. In fact, Jesus' parables about loving children and children being precious, that was a radical teaching. Children were an expense. If you had a daughter, that was a bigger expense, because at least with a son, eventually you could rent him out to a rich merchant, or rent him out rent out his labor to someone for someone to exploit. If you had a daughter, until you could sell her to a rich merchant as a sex slave, or as a brothel worker, or as one of his additional wives, that little bitch was just a drain on you, financial drain. Also, most women died in childbirth. So the gloriousness of being pregnant, not so glorious. Glorious for the men if they could produce sons, or daughters they could sell, but otherwise not so glorious for the women who actually had to bear those children and hope to not die trying to give birth to them. Okay, so this bullshit. Jesus never said anything about fetuses. Fetuses were not sacred. They weren't sacred to the Jews. They weren't sacred to Hindus to Buddhists or Taoists. They weren't sacred to pagans. Okay, in most cultures in Jesus' time, the children really weren't even considered people until you sold them for profit, or they could work productively and make you profit. Until then, they barely existed. You'd feed them if you had extra food, but that was pretty much it. Okay, so we're clear on that now. Jesus, no concern for fetuses, never mentioned fetuses. The word fetus didn't even exist in Jesus' time. They barely understood how conception worked. In fact, they didn't really figure that out till centuries later, millennia later. All right. So, gays and lesbians, you'll notice that the lunatic fundamentalist Christians, they always quote the Old Testament. Well, what they arrogantly call the Old Testament. Jews would call that the heavily redacted and abridged 1/10 of Torah and other sacred Jewish texts. Because there's a lot of stuff in the Jewish versions that don't really jibe, with the obviousness of Jesus, and so they just took all that shit out. They didn't like that shit. They took it out. You can still read it just to make friends with a Jew. Plus, they have cool holidays, and they got nice food too. So the Manischewitz wine, not a big fan. Italian table wine, much better. But I digress. Okay, so the hatred of the hatred of gays and lesbians and transgender people. Jesus never said anything about any of that. I think once he was having a bad day, needed a sandwich and a nap, and he said, all that shit is true in your Bible. He probably said that once. But I don't think he ever did like a big Sermon on the Mount about it. And so the lunatic fundamentalist Christians, they take that little phrase and they say, see, Jesus says everything in the Old Testament is true too. And Jesus never said that. I bet he never said, I'm the one true God, just between me and you. I bet he didn't. He tried to fulfill the messianic mission. He blew up. What the Jews wanted was a military leader that was going to overthrow overthrow the Roman occupiers, so the Jews could take their women and their good shit, and move into their big houses. Jesus was like, no, I'm not that Messiah. I'm the Messiah that's going to tell you materialism is bullshit. Love your neighbors, love your enemies. What you do to the least among you, you do to me. I'm that Jesus. Which, of course, is why they were like, we got to kill this motherfucker. All right? So it's all bullshit. My right-wing, lunatic, white, evangelical Christian, inauthentic, fake Christians, what they like about the Bible is all the Old Testament admonitions about, the admonitions about the chosen people, bullshit, and hating gays, and other aberrant, sinners. They like that part. New Testament, they like Paul, render under Caesar, be a good citizen, follow the rules. They don't really talk about what Jesus had to say about materialism or the filthy rich. And I don't think I've ever heard any of them quote the last thing he said to his apostles. I'm paraphrasing. What you do to the least among you, you do to me. They usually don't emphasize the things that Jesus said for the entire 3-year ministry about caring for the poor, not screwing people, not being a materialistic piece of shit. They don't talk about any of that. Why? Because they're full of shit. They must hope, they surely hope, there is no God. Or that if there is, she is much more compassionate and forgiving than just. Because if that bitch is just, these motherfuckers, man, when they die, they're in for some serious shit. I'll take whatever hit I'm going to take. I'll take that hit. Bad karma, damnation in hell forever. If you know more than me, because I don't know any of that shit. I don't know how any of us can know that shit. I'll find out. I won't be able to let you know, but you'll find out too. In the meantime, don't listen to these sick motherfucking cocksucking fundamentalist Christian white evangelical lunatics, because they're full of shit. They're full of shit. Anything else? No. Sign off. Andrew Paul Scatino, Why Women Are So Problematic, a memoir and irreverent, whimsical polemic. You can check out my GoFundMe page. Help me get that book that I just gave you the title for. Help me get that published. I need some help to pay the publisher to self-publish it, get copies so I can sell them on the street corner. Send you a free copy if you donate $50. Autographed, beautiful autographed copy. You can help make that happen. SCHETTINO. Google my name. Oh, light went out. Google my name. And if you like to read, I got a bunch of documents that you'll find if you Google my name. You like memes? I got a bunch of memes on my Facebook page. What else? Memes, videos. This isn't my only video. That you can go to my channel, Andrew Scatino, only one on YouTube, and you can watch them all. I'll figure out how to put them all. It'd be nice if I could put them all in one place, so that if you just went to one place, they'd all pop up. I got to figure that out. Maybe I'll start a podcast if I can figure that out. In the meantime, I've got an anti-Trump blog, but it's words. You'd have to read it, so I don't expect you to track that down. You'll see the link for it. Just don't click on it. Or if you want to read, read, just click on it. All right, under 10 minutes, not bad, millennials, but over 2 minutes, so you probably stopped listening about 7 minutes ago. Peace out. Impeach Trump, convict, remove from office in disgrace, then try for treason, convict, and execute by firing squad. Peace out.